very, very excited to have our next two guests on. They are so kind to be squeezing us into their very busy schedule. They are killing it on the podcast scene, not just in the MMA world, but in the comedy world. They're doing sold out tours. They're coming to New York. I would have plugged that, but they already sold out the event. Selling t-shirts. They've got a new show. These guys are inspirations for little peons like me. I'm talking about Brendan Schaub and Bryan Callen, who are joining us right now via the magic of Skype. There they are. Wow, look at those faces.
Yeah.
Inspirations, baby.
What's up, brother? That's a heck of an intro.
Well, that's what I like to do. And guys, I said at the top of the show, nice little plug there with the mug, Brendan. I got a bit of a bone to pick with you guys right off the bat.
What's up, man?
I mean, I'm asked if you can come on. I was pitched you guys. I was like, you know what, Brendan and Bryan, I'm going to have them on. Yes, let's do it. My old friends from Fox, let's do it. And then I find out you're doing the great Joe Rogan podcast at 12. So you're literally shoehorning me in here. You didn't tell me you had a heart out. I know, I recognize.
Right now, and he's going to bust in any minute.
I know.
So,
So you literally...
It's a busy schedule, my man. You know I love you. It's just a busy schedule. It's our publicist, bro. I'm sorry.
I mean...
I got tennis. I can squeeze in tennis, weightlifting.
You talk about dropping the ball. I see a tweet from Rogan that you're going to be on at 12 p.m. So you have a heart out. What if I didn't see that tweet? No one told me. I could have gone till 12:10. And then Rogan would have been pissed.
It might stretch for you. You never know.
For you, we'll make it happen,
okay.
My man.
I appreciate it. Well, guys...
turn down Ellen for this.
Yeah, I bet. You're killing it. Congratulations on all your success. I'm wondering, Bryan, for you, off the bat, at what point did you realize that you had something with this guy? Look at this guy, this numbskull right here, this behemoth. Yes. When did you know you had something with him?
Well, when I started hanging out with him and I realized he was a really funny guy, and a lot of my friends are stand-up comics and actors, and at one point we were at a bar and I looked up and he was telling a story and he had 5 or 6 actors / comics laughing their ass off. And then Brennan and Joe Rogan and myself are sitting at Metamoris, and Brennan's telling a very self-effacing story, and Rogan's cackling.
Wow.
And Brennan gets up to go to the bathroom, and Joe goes, "That dude's really funny." And I said, "Yeah, I don't hang out with him because I'm attracted to him, even though I probably am subconsciously. Yeah. I hang out with him because we have a laugh." And I finally said, "Look, dude, let's do a podcast. Let's do an MMA podcast." And he said, "I'm not doing an MMA podcast. I'd rather be at the dentist to talk about fighting for 2 hours. Let's talk about life, and let's just talk about the way we talk when we're having dinner or hanging out." And so the rest is pretty much history.
Boom.
So Brendan, in that studio, when you were talking to Joe Rogan after the Travis Brown fight, that's one of the great moments in podcast history, when he was having that heart-to-heart with you and Bryan. I mean, it was tremendous. And I always thought after that, you turned into the biggest baby face in this sport. Everyone was behind you to prove these guys wrong, that you still got it. But you never did it. You walked away after that point. Why is that?
Well, first of all, I just got to add a caveat. Let me add a caveat to that before you answer this. That we didn't want to air it. I didn't want to air it. And Brendan said, let's let it just air it. I want it to be aired. I want the truth of who I am and what I'm going through out there. And that was to his credit that so many people said.
Yeah, it's not even that. What were your words? I never did it. I think the passion just wasn't there. I think, whether Rogan gave me that talk or not, is kind of the perfect storm. And, Rogan and he's a close friend, so we've had many of talks.
Right.
So that one was just as brutal as they get, and, millions of people saw it. So I think it was the perfect storm of everything. The Reebok deal, the way Dana handled some stuff, where I was at in my career, and really this entertainment side of things that really started to take off, and financially it would be silly for me to jump back into the octagon.
So all that stuff is still going on. You don't think you're obviously more popular now than you ever were? I mean, you're one of the biggest stars in the sport. You don't think if you fight, like, you'd get a main event that they push you hard because of who you are in the podcast world as well?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it for me. Still, I'm worth much more as an entertainer than I am as a fighter. And I was at Bellator, which I'm sure you saw. I was at Bellator this past weekend. I was there on a business trip and meeting with Scott Coker and those guys. And I was sitting cage side, and I thought, man, if anything's gonna push me to fight, it's gonna be because I haven't been at a fight since my fight with Travis Brown last December.
Wow.
So I've been away from the game a little bit. So I go into the arena. We're sitting cage side. They take me back. I'm friends with Phil Davis and King Mo, very close friends. So I go back there, and I thought I'd get that urge and maybe just like, man, don't you miss this? And I sat down. I looked at my brother, and I went, man, this is the nail in the coffin for me. it's just over for me. Yeah.
What was
We're having too much fun being silly geese.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you don't get punched in the face, so I mean, it's a win-win. What was the business trip about, by the way?
A number of things. What
can you tell us? What can you tell us?
We're a value commodity.
Yeah, it was really about some Fire and the Kids stuff, and I think there's a few people who like the way that I do business when it comes to MMA and marketing, stuff like that. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm a busy guy, and I love what Bellator represents and what they're doing. They have a ways to go before they catch the UFC. That's for sure. But I'm just an MMA fan.
Ariel, one thing you should know is that this business called The Fighter and the Kid, which has become pretty lucrative, etc. We're selling t-shirts, everything. Yeah. This business is run by one guy. That's Brendan Schaub. It's also strategized by one guy. That's Brendan Schaub. I show up and act like a but he basically handles the social media. He's the strategist, and I've been very, very impressed with what a good businessman he is, and a lot of other people are starting to see what he's been able to do. Not only are they copying what he's doing, but they're trying to sit down and kind of pick his brain and get an idea of how he's done this, and because people want sort of the same results.
Brian, were you at this business meeting as well on Saturday?
I wasn't. I had to play tennis and hang out at the beach.
Now. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Brendan.
There was some, because I wasn't quite sure what they were going to bring me in for. And, Phil was the main event, and they fought. And I'm talking to Coker, and the subject of me fighting again got brought up.
Oh, wow.
And my out was, I'm under this Zuffa contract. There's just nothing. And the amount of money I would demand would be insane.
Right.
And they didn't even blink. Like, we could figure it out. And then they kept talking. I'm like, no, dude, I'm telling you, you're wasting your time. It's just, I appreciate what you guys do, and I love the sport, but as far as me competing, it'd be tough.
Now, the podcast, Brian, is hosted by Fox Sports. You're under that umbrella, right? Do you ever have, because what I appreciate from you guys, in all honesty, is that you are critical at times of the sport and the UFC in particular. Have you guys ever been told by a higher up, hey, you went a little too far in that regard, you shouldn't say this or that?
Never. Fox has been pretty amazing. I have to say that I've been so impressed with, they gave us money to shoot 12 webisodes.
Yep.
They didn't interfere. We did some pretty outlandish stuff. They didn't interfere even a little bit. They've had so much respect for our expression, and they just let us go. And to their credit, I think they realize that the audience likes two things. One is transparency and humor. And sometimes humor is going to be disturbing or push the envelope a little bit. And I think that's the only way to do it. And especially if you want to do something original or stay surprising, that requires you to be a little risky sometimes and kind of dance on those edges.
The other thing, Ariel, is Fox doesn't pay our bills. We don't get a check from Fox Sports or Zuffa when it comes to the podcast. So as far as being critical, it'd be tough for them to say, hey, you can't talk about this, or hey, we need you to do this. We give them distribution rights, but Brian and I run the ship and own the Fire and the Kid.
So why even be under the Fox? Like, Rogan's podcast is Rogan's podcast. He's not with any other company in that regard. Why not just do the whole thing on your own?
Because we could.
They made it very easy with a studio.
Yeah.
They finance our web series. I mean, they've been really, really easy to work with.
Yeah, they've been great.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, we had no issues.
So I guess it's sort of like an ad type of thing, like you split the revenue. Is that how it works?
No, sir.
So what do they get out of it?
Notoriety and 85% of their digital content. I think originally when we went to them, we really didn't have a name. So having that Fox branding kind of made us a little more serious in a world full of podcasts where, some guy can do it out of his garage and call himself a professional. So I think by being with Fox, it was just a brand awareness thing and made us a little more legit than everyone else. But now we're at a stage where I think we benefit mutually from it, and we'll see where it goes.
So you did this 12-episode web series, webisodes, if you want to call it that. It's called The Fighter and the Kid 3D. People can get it. The URL is, what is it? tfatk3d.com, right?
Yeah,
TFATK.
There you go. TFATK3D.com. There you go.
And fans are loving it. You're selling the T-shirts. You're doing the live touring. You're going to be in New York on Thursday, though it's sold out. No more tickets for that, right?
We'll be at the Wilbur, though, in Boston.
Boston's the big one. The Wilbur in Boston.
That's Friday. Trocadero in Philly is Saturday. So when we sold a lot of tickets already, so I think those tickets are going pretty fast.
Ariel, I heard you might be at the New York show. There's 2 tickets under my name,
VIP.
and they're literally just for you. If you don't come, we're gonna have problems.
I appreciate that very much. But my question is, what's the next step in your opinion? Like you guys, Brendan, you seem to be a guy thinking 2-3 steps in advance. Do you want a show on television? Do you want what is the next step here? Because you can't just stay where you're at. Right?
No. I think the digital space, we're doing well there. And we'll always, the podcast is the mothership and can never leave that. But, literally after we get done with all this PR today, we have a meeting with a big executive, and we're taking a number of meetings. Just the next step for the television would be the next step. And we've had offers, but for us, it's just landing on the right spot.
In a weird
visual experience.
Right. In a weird way, did Bryan kind of save your life in the sense that if you didn't have this, and I'm being serious here, if you didn't have this, you would be a fighter looking for the next step. You're going to be a gym owner or a coach. Like, what would you do? And do you have any idea what you would be like? Does that scare you? Thinking, what would I be doing if I was just Brendan Schaub fighter and didn't meet this guy who gave me this opportunity and the confidence to do this?
Yeah, no, I owe Bryan, the world. And I tell him that on stage from time to time. My life has never been better. I've never been more happy. And, you know how it goes, Ariel. The movie for a lot of these fighters, this movie doesn't end well, man. It's scary. So I'm one of the guys who got out. It's like Shawshank Redemption. I'm Andy Dufresne crawling through all this shit. And then
Joe Rogan just walked in.
Rogan's here.
Wow. Uh-oh. That means our fun is done. Finish your thought if you don't mind.
Skyping. Yeah.
Hello, Joe.
What the fuck?
What's up, my man? How are you? I'm doing great. Great to have you on the show, man. Finish your thought if you don't mind.
Yeah, so basically, as a fighter, I feel like Andy Dufresne in Schaub's Redemption. I crawled through all that shit, and this is my Morgan Freeman, man. And so now we're sitting pretty, and it's just you just keep going. I'll forever be grateful to Bryan and Joe Rogan.
Let's cut to the chase. Why did Fox cut you loose? What the fuck's going on, man?
These are the hard questions.
You're not a supporter anymore. What kind of business are they running?
That is a great question, Joe.
Ariel Helwani, you're an excellent reporter, and I'm a fan. 2 thumbs up.
I was going to ask the same thing. So to echo Joe.
Well, you guys are the Fox, the Fox guys. What do you got there? Is that the Joe Rogan strain?
It's the Joe Rogan strain.
I saw that on your Instagram, Joe.
Sir, that's a drug, sir.
It's very rare.
Joe, let me ask you, why are you ducking this show? You used to come on the show all the time. You don't want to ever come on anymore.
Busy.
You are.
I'm on it right now.
You've had my uncle Gad Sad on your show multiple times, and you can't even talk to lowly Ariel.
Listen, you can come on my show. I'll come on your show. I don't give a fuck.
We could do a simulcast. I appreciate that. No, I know you guys are going live now, so much
from Fox. It's bullshit.
Well, I appreciate that as well.
Bullshit.
Where were you a month ago when this happened, Joe? I mean, a little late, my friend. I'm out on the streets.
I got kids, bitch.
He just got news. He got fired. I got kids, bitch.
Thanks for sticking up for me. I appreciate it. Wow, how about this?
Yeah, we love you, man. All of us have your back.
Everybody loves you.
Yeah,
well, thank you, guys. Wow, this is. No, I think
Fox doesn't love you, and UFC doesn't, but you'll figure it out.
Well, that doesn't make me feel very good.
What did happen, Ariel? I'm curious.
What's that?
What did happen? Because everybody was pretty outraged.
Well, I know.
You're pretty vanilla when you gave your
No, you know what, Brendan? I saw your assessment of my thing, and I appreciated your words, but I felt like you were a little bit off there. What vanilla? I said what everyone reported was right. It was there. It was out there. What did everyone?
It's a little creepy where you're not looking at us. Where are you looking?
I'm looking at you right over here.
Handsome devil.
There you are on my screen, but there you go.
We're looking at you. You're not looking at us. You got a shitty setup. Who set your thing up?
Wow, I remember the old days when.
Jamie over there, straighten this out.
Please, I would love it. I keep reading about your amazing millions of downloads, Joe. I need some of your rub. That's why I keep asking you to be on the show. I can't even get a text back, for God's sakes. Did you change your number on me? Oh, okay, fair enough.
He did change his number.
No,
I changed it every 4 months. Throw my phone in the ocean.
Well, to answer the question, because I don't shy away, they just got tired of me. They just got tired of me. They didn't want me on. I guess I was annoying some people with some of the questions being asked on this show, and they got tired of me.
The big question was about free agency, right? That was the issue.
I will be 100% honest with you. God is my witness. I have not been told by a single soul what went wrong. Honestly.
Oh, we'll find out.
But I will say, people on the inside, such as you who know the important people, said that they were just getting a little annoyed of the free agency talk, the Bellator talk. But I will say this, and God is my witness as well, I hold no ill will towards the UFC. I get it from their perspective. They have a brand to protect. They're like, why are we going to let this guy come on this show and talk about this stuff, and then he's going to be on Fox? My issue was with Fox, who didn't have my back. They could have been like, all right, let's figure this out. He's never been wrong. He's never embarrassed us. He's never gotten scoop wrong. Let's figure this out, guys. But from my perspective, what happened was the TV deal is up in a couple of years, and they're like, all right, this isn't a fight worth having, so let's get rid of him. And that was it. I got a 2-minute phone call from them to say thank you for your services, and that was it after 4.5 years of working for them. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can't believe it. You know what I love? You're still dropping that breaking news, son. Somehow.
Well, someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Well, you really are an excellent reporter. You're an excellent MMA analyst, and you're very smooth. And I can't imagine why anybody wouldn't want you working for them. I've really always enjoyed your interviews. I think you're fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Joe. That means a lot. From you especially. That means a lot. Let me ask you, are you leaving in August?
Who knows, bitch?
Come on, tell me. You know.
I don't know. I honestly do not know. I have a contract that's up in August, and I have not made up my mind. I vacillate daily.
If the UFC sells, will you leave?
100%.
You're done.
Yep.
See ya.
I might shave my head and put my resume in.
You want in? Okay, are they going to sell? Do any of you know?
Stick my hand up his ass and work him like a puppet.
Are they selling?
Sir.
Are they selling? What's the scoop? Are they selling? You don't know? I don't believe you.
There are rumors for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm getting very vague responses. I don't know.
Wow, they're leaving you in the cold? They're leaving you in the dark?
I don't ask a lot. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't ask because when I call them, they want me to do shit, and I just don't.
Why weren't you in Brazil, Joe?
I had my daughter's birthday this week.
I had my son's birthday. That's why we both weren't there.
Hey.
Brendan, how's fatherhood?
The best, man. Amazing.
Yeah?
The kid's a giant. The kid's 2 months old, and the kid cries like this.
Would you?
Huge hands, huge dick.
World Series already is trying to sign him.
Yeah.
The answer is no.
The kid's got a full beard.
Do you want him to be a fighter? Would you want him? Would you advocate this?
No, absolutely not. Never.
What about football player? Because I think that's more dangerous than fighting.
It's not, and also the juice is worth the squeeze in football. They should have, benefits, and the money's legit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll leave you guys be because I know you're going live, right? You're 5 minutes late.
Listen, we don't give a fuck. We do this whenever we want.
It's
That's how we roll, man.
All right.
Freedom!
Joe, give us the final word on these two. In a million years, did you think that these two guys would actually be this successful in podcasting? You put out the blueprint how to do this. You're the one kicking ass. But did you ever think that they would be able to find this chemistry and get it done?
100%. Yeah, without a doubt. They're both hilarious, entertaining guys. Look, the world needs more actual, real people that are saying exactly what's on their mind. The world is filled with puppets and robots and people that are trying to follow a script that's already been done before. All right, here we go. Top 40 music coming at you.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing the same shit.
Yeah. Nobody
Nobody can be themselves. And if you could just be yourself and two hilarious, awesome dudes, of course it's going to work.
He was always telling me to do this. I mean, Joe's always been podcast. Stop acting. Podcast, stand-up. Podcast, stand-up. Well, stop being so scattered.
The problem with acting is you would have a bunch of people write things, and then Bryan would give his take on it. But who he is always way better than whatever they wrote.
Right.
So my thoughts were always like, you're so much funnier off camera than you are on camera because unless you write your own shit, they're never going to find you that way.
Yeah, but I like to be dramatic. I can cry right now.
Cry.
Go.
If I think about you being fired, I can
cry. Cry. Ariel got fired.
But I cry into my hands like a man.
Wow.
I've seen better.
That is
Not
talent.
bad, right?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. All right. Well,
it's more moving if I try to not cry and I go. God, I love
It looks
you.
like you're doing something else.
it looks like you're dropping a deuce.
I cry when I drop.
Ariel, I'm sorry, man.
Can you guys
All right,
delay?
that's
Can you delay the start of your podcast for another 90 minutes because you're sort of going head to head with mine, which is live as well. If you start yours now, so can we just do something else?
Sorry.
All right. Fair enough.
But you can use afterwards, right? Like people can download it just
Sure.
like you download this.
Yep.
That's the
iTunes.
beautiful thing about the internet. There's no real competition. It's all just it's just open.
You just have to have a good product.
Yeah.
People are going to find
Well,
it.
it's fun.
There's
It's funny you say that. Sorry to interrupt. Someone came up to me here today and said, "Why are you having Brendan and Bryan on your show? They're competition." I said, "Hell no. I'm genuinely happy for you guys. I think the more people in the MMA world that expand out, that's good for me. That's good for the next guy."
I believe that if you look us in the fucking eye.
Sorry. I'm
why
looking
you
at you.
over here?
Sorry. That's the way. Joe, you know why you're so smart? You're the first person in the history of the show to actually call us out on this setup. and I appreciate that.
It is kind of
You
weird.
gotta look at people.
Yeah,
You're
it is
looking
weird.
off to the left.
Plus, your eyes are incredibly expressive. I get lost.
Yeah, you're way more
in it.
handsome straight on.
I like you. Like I like
Yeah.
this
Thank you.
profile.
Thank you.
Profile's nice.
Thank you, guys.
Straight on.
I like to show off my big nose. I'm sorry. All right, well,
Dude,
this
no
is
one
great.
can invite me and you to a cocaine party, my man. I'll tell you
Your
that.
nose is not big. Your face.
That's
Fits
true.
Your face.
That's my mom always said.
Look up. Look it up.
Adds personality. But now I can't see you, and it's all weird. Now I'm all self-conscious about this. This is
If I
great.
don't see you in New York, me and you are gonna have problems.
We are? That's
Get your
it?
ass to New York.
Okay.
Grab a seat ticket.
I will admit, I was a little annoyed about how this whole thing went down. You're doing the show. I felt like I was being shoehorned. You didn't really want to do it, even though I was
How much
pitched.
time we're giving?
I
you.
know. And so now I feel like we're friends again. It's a great thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let
man.
this insecurity shit go, man. You
Yeah.
and I don't even have a problem, and you thought we had a problem.
Well, I thought
He's
you know,
always like that. He's always like that.
I'm very
Come on, man.
sensitive. It's the Jewish neuroses in me. You know what I'm saying, Joe?
I
Makes
get
sense.
it. Why, your uncle doesn't have any of that.
No, he
Weird.
doesn't. He is on the complete other spectrum in that regard. That is a different topic for
Your
a different day.
uncle's Awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Though I don't see him as much as I want to because he lives in Montreal, and, well, that's a different story for a different day as well. But thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Congrats on all your success, Joe. Thank you for popping in. That's great of you to do. Brian, you're the man. Very funny guy. Brendan, you're the man as well. You're doing great things. Continued success. TFATK3D.com. You can get the webisodes. You know the Fighter and the Kid. You can get them on iTunes and all that stuff. And Joe Rogan, he's got 3 months left until he's done with the UFC, so get him while you can.
Easy.
We don't know. Breaking news.
I'm kidding. No, but I will say, way back when, I think it was UFC 100, 106, something like that, you did an interview with me, Joe, backstage, one of my favorite interviews of all time. We were backstage at one of your events. It was in black and white, and you said to all the dumb executives out there, this is the guy and all that, and that meant the world to me back then. So it's something I'll never forget. Even though I felt until this moment that you hated me, that is something I'll never forget and feel like I still owe you for that. So thank you for doing that.
My pleasure, brother.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Have a great show.
Thanks, Ariel.
See you in New York.
brother.
See you in Boston.
All right, there he is. Brendan Schaub, Bryan Callen, Joe Rogan. How about that? Wow. So much fun. Great cameos. How about that? The 2 podcasts, the 3 podcasts coming together. Now, don't go watch their show because we're still live, okay?